Think about human survival. Strip away the comforts, and you're left with a very short, non-negotiable list. We need oxygen to breathe, water to drink, and food to eat. But in the opening lines of his Sermon on the Mount, Jesus of Nazareth adds a surprising item to that survival list. He claims that a flourishing life requires us to hunger and thirst for righteousness. In modern English, righteousness carries heavy baggage. We usually associate the word with an exhausting checklist of personal moral purity. It sounds like an internal metric of how good you are at following religious rules, which makes Jesus' analogy confusing. The drive for food and water is a desperate primal instinct. It's hard to imagine anyone experiencing that same visceral starvation for strict behavioral compliance. If the analogy feels broken, it's because our modern definition misses the mark entirely. To make sense of what Jesus is actually demanding, we have to translate his words backward. In ancient texts, righteousness traces back to two source words, the Hebrew tzedakah and the Greek dikaiosune. They don't describe private perfection, but point outward to active practices like justice and generosity. Synthesized, they mean right relationship, relating properly with humans, land, and God. Righteousness is entirely relational. It measures how equitably and lovingly you interact with people around you. This relational focus is woven into the very first pages of the biblical story. In the Genesis account, humanity is designed to operate in an ecosystem of complete, healthy connection with their Creator, each other, and their environment. When humans ignore God's instruction, that harmonious connection snaps. The response shifts toward fear, blame, and a frantic drive for self-preservation. Instead of partners, humans become competitors. We fight for limited resources, hoard what we gather, and push down the vulnerable to secure our own safety and comfort. Over the centuries, attempts to fix this broken social system through strict legal codes fall short. Even the most educated religious scholars of Jesus' day managed to weaponize their ancient laws, expertly following the rules while simultaneously exploiting the poor. History proves that a person can achieve flawless compliance with religious law while maintaining a ravenous, power-hungry appetite that actively starves their neighbors of justice. When Jesus delivers the Sermon on the Mount, his goal is to reset the human appetite. He asks his listeners to completely let go of the instinct to protect and elevate themselves. In its place, he insists they must cultivate an intense, driving desire for fair and equitable relationships. Jesus lives out this ethic to its extreme conclusion. Rather than using his influence to gather political power or ensure his own survival, he willingly surrenders his own life. That execution highlights a sharp contrast. Humanity's brutal hunger to maintain control collides directly with God's merciful, unyielding pursuit of restoring connection. To make this shift possible, Jesus asks people to stop obsessing over what they will eat or wear. He invites them to trust God with their physical survival, freeing up their deepest longing to seek the right relationships of his kingdom first. The promise attached to this teaching is profound. If we train ourselves to crave justice and connection with the same primal urgency that we crave water and oxygen, our longing will finally be met. We step into the deeply satisfied, flourishing existence that humanity was always built to enjoy.